Welcome to the Unconventional Podcast. My name's Brendan Cochran,
And I'm Dr. Jason.
and we're in an unconventional setting.
We sure are.
Yeah, we're here at Positively Natural out in Palm Springs, California. Gorgeous backdrop. And we have a very special guest with us. She's an herbalist. And why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah. Hi, guys. My name's Kandice Kingston. I'm an herbalist, vitamin manager out in San Diego at Windmill Farms. And yeah, just excited to come here, connect with you guys, enjoy this show, and just have a conversation and get to know you guys.
Fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
we crossed paths. We were doing a talk over there. You had asked some really great questions. And I think what we want to do here is just figure out a little bit more about your passion, how you got involved in the industry. What are you doing now? You start wherever you feel comfortable.
Yeah. Oh, man. In so many ways, getting in this industry has been so eye-opening, beautiful, transformative. I came in as a budding herbalist, really feeling like something was missing or I was onto something. And I really just hung on to that pulse. And I met Joel Detjen, my mentor. Shout out to him. He's been in the industry over 35 years, and he really taught me so much about the natural channel and about nutrition and really understanding how to kind of decolonize my medicine and join community, join forces, and really see that as the way forward. And being with him over the years, I've changed so many shapes. I became a sales rep for a year, really learning kind of the back end of how it works in the natural products industry. And then eventually, him moving, I took over the department. So now I have wonderful people with me that are brilliant and engaged and having hard conversations and healing. I really think healing begins in community. People need to be seen and witnessed and understood and kind of learn their own wilderness, like their landscape of their body, because we're all so unique. And I think that even in the natural channel, people can approach other people in a very allopathic way. And I really understood that even with herbalism, people can be practicing herbalism allopathically. So I would really just say, like, being with people has taught me how to really see, like, the wilderness of the person working in herbalism and like understanding what plants will thrive there in those conditions, or like what is it called for. And so that is really what's kept me so engaged and like interested, and also just seeing like how the natural channel has been evolving and where it's heading, and that we're that culture, right?
So I'm going to jump in for
Yeah.
our viewers, like explain herbalism, like, or being an herbalist, like in its simplest definition. What does that mean? Like, how are you using that to help people and change their lives? I think people would love to hear that.
Okay. Oh my God. Being with the plants is like being with your friends, with the ancestors, like having a connection that feels very natural. And I think within our modern society, we've become very industrialized and medicine has evolved. And I think coming back to our roots of like that we are animals and we are, right, a species that belongs to these microbes, this mycelium, this network, is understanding a language of medicine that's always been here. Like all of it came spontaneously from this planet. And so herbalism is a way of reconnecting to this planet in a way that is deeply symbiotic. So the plants, we can read them, understand their doctrine of signatures, what they have to offer, and we develop a relationship with them. And that medicine just goes beyond physical. It's emotional, it's psychospiritual, it offers a place of reciprocity, and we give back too. We have to learn this like exchange. So for people that are looking to deeply connect with themselves, I think herbalism is such a beautiful path for that. And there's all different ways to study it, right? You can do topical oils, tinctures, teas. Every day we're engaging with the natural world through our food, through plants. And I think we get really busy and we may forget like, oh, we're in this deep relationship. And so herbalism is a way of remembering and connecting to where we belong. Um,
You
yeah.
had mentioned decolonizing.
Mhm.
So, just in case the viewers don't know exactly what you're talking about, when you refer to decolonizing, what's the colonization and how do we get away from it? I mean, I
Yeah.
suspect
That's a big
so. Yeah.
question. Yeah. Um,
Is this more like from the pharmaceutical industry that
yeah.
we've like sort of subjugated the natural
Yes, I got it.
and separated and gone into the chemical?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
okay. So a plant in its form in nature is comprising of hundreds of compounds. It's
Right.
synapsing and adapting within its environment. And when we take that plant, we are having a more balanced communication with that plant versus when we would isolate a compound. We're missing all the other elements that are comprised of it. And I think in some extreme cases, I think every lane has its place. I'm not saying I'm one extreme over here. I feel like we have to understand the gauge of like, if I break my arm, you take me in, you put me back together, you give me those drugs, like, get me back up and running. Um, but when I say like decolonizing, connecting with that medicine, it's understanding that being has in its own right, it's medicine in which we can engage with in its whole form.
So would you say that in any given plant that the therapeutic benefit is in the whole plant or certain parts? Because there are
Yeah.
two different camps, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
In my background, I come a little bit more on the other side where
Okay.
I feel, and the research tells me that there's certain parts of the plant that are more effective than others.
Yeah.
But then there's the other side that says, no, you need the collective whole of the
Mhm.
herb for it to be therapeutic. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think both have its place in one extreme condition or not, depending on the person and what it calls for. Because, I mean, I think in some scenarios, you kind of need to wake the body quickly to shift that constitution. But I think ongoing in a more sustainable way, working with that whole plant is going to offer, right, the chlorophyll, the fiber, the phytonutrients, not just the um specific. I'm trying to think of like a specific compound.
Mhm.
um it has so much to offer, which can balance the conditions within the body. And so I think both have its place. um but to be in a reciprocal relationship, work with the whole plant, really like get to know all of how it's adapting and regulating. Yeah.
And is that a methodology that you learned from Joel?
I've been in several schools for years
Okay.
learning herbalism. Yeah. And I've had multiple teachers. So I really um, have come from, Western Ayurvedic, looking at TCM as well, because I love the way they express the elements and the way we seasonally work within the elements.
That's a really it's a um complete background. What are the differences between is there any significant differences? They
Yeah.
more or less saying the same thing or?
Oh, they're saying the same thing. A lot of them are saying the same thing, but they express it differently
Mm.
depending on the origin of where they're coming from. And that's what fascinated me as an herbalist. I was like, oh my gosh, like so much of what everyone's talking about is like, we all see it. We all see that, like, this brilliance of nature is expressing itself, and these plants, like, they have this very similar methodologies. But depending on the background and the people, respectfully, they have their traditions and they have their strengths, you know? So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, given your vast knowledge of herbs and herbalism, tell me, like, just off the top of your head, like 3 herbs that you like, you love, impress you a lot. I have mine.
Okay.
Brendan has his.
I would love to hear yours.
Oh gosh.
As well.
Okay. You first.
Okay, I'll go first. I feel like they're like children, and I'm like, I'm sorry if I leave you out. You know,
Right,
I want to speak on all of them.
Well, I have 3 children, and,
Okay.
and I don't love them all equally, right?
Okay.
It just depends on, which one's being nice to me. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but herbs are different. Like herbs,
Okay.
I love certain herbs for the body, and I always like to ask that question because I don't know
love it.
everything, right? I
Yeah.
know what I know, and I'll share my secrets with you, but
Cool.
I want you to
Okay.
share with
Okay.
me and millions of others your
Yeah.
secrets.
Okay. 3 herbs.
3 herbs.
3 herbs. I really love nettles. I think nettles is such a fiery, vast medicinal herb that is just can be called for in so many different scenarios, whether it's like seasonal allergies, needing nutrients and minerals, supporting, the menstrual cycle. It's very salty and nutritive and very building and strengthening, but also has like a clearing effect if needed.
I love it.
That's a good one.
I love
And the
it.
whole plant is called for, right? Like the roots are like very supportive for men's like hormone support and all the way up to and the seed. So it offers just such a powerhouse. It does pull a lot of minerals from the earth. So being aware of heavy metals and things like that. So proper testing. I feel like I've had to learn this one the hard way a little bit.
Okay, so nettle is a
Nettle.
favorite. Give me
Yeah.
one more.
Okay. I don't know why it's coming to mind. I think it's because I feel very called to it right now. Is
Okay.
shatavari, which is an Ayurvedic herb.
Yep.
It's great for women's hormones. It's very moistening, very like invigorating. Really good for supporting fertility, pregnancy. Yeah, that one I feel like I'm really jiving with, and it's like delicious. You can make such good drinks. Like you put some rose, some cinnamon, a little bit of honey, and it's like this yummy cocktail, and you can just like feel juicy afterwards.
I like that.
Yeah,
I
I
like that.
love
I've
that
never
one.
felt juicy, but maybe with this herb. What about you,
Yeah.
Brendan?
I
Yeah.
almost know which one you're going to.
I know you know.
Okay, I want to hear it. What's your herb?
I like ashwagandha.
Yeah.
Love those adaptogenic herbs. I think they're so important.
Yeah.
It settles the system. And it just interacts so well with the endocrine system. Helps to re-regulate hormones. And of course, I'm going to cheat on this.
Mhm.
I'm going to go with milk thistle because I'm a liver guy. So
yes,
that's
absolutely.
huge for
We
me.
can't
And
not talk about it.
yeah, I feel like, look, if you're not detoxifying, you're not really taking care of the body, and especially because of the world is so toxic.
Yeah.
So it's not like really an option. You
Yeah.
got to be doing it every day. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
I know.
Yeah,
We
you
go.
know. Okay. I mean, if it's not obvious to listeners now, but I love the power of andrographis. I think
Ooh.
it's an absolutely amazing herb. I've studied it for over 20 years, and it just continues to impress me, not only in its folklore history of
Ooh.
how powerful the herb has been, but they've done advancements in like really well done clinically controlled trials.
Is that really well studied?
It is well studied. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. They've been doing it.
And that's unusual for the industry.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
You're
We're
right,
moving in
yeah.
that direction.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I know there's pros and cons, but
Yeah.
from what I'm seeing, as far as andrographis is concerned, it's well done. So it has antiviral benefits. It has anti-inflammatory and then adaptogenic immune modulating properties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm cheating.
If you couldn't
I'm cheating
tell,
as
he's
well.
an immune guy.
Right. So yeah, I'm an
I
immune
love
guy.
it.
I'm cheating because that's in a lot of my formulas. So
Yeah.
but that's an herb that I put like number one in my handbook.
Yeah.
You know what? I've recently got on with Andrographis. It is the king of bitters. Like, and I feel like that's what's missing in our modern
Yeah.
diet, you guys, is like, we need bitters.
Okay,
Bitters.
why?
Oh my
I agree
God.
with you totally.
Yeah. Bitters. So important for the digestive process, for all of the enzymatic, like pancreatic enzymes, and also it's protecting to the liver, gallbladder, the whole digestive system.
Agreed.
I mean, bitters is just like, it stimulates everything to begin the process of digestion, and the gut, nerve connection, all of that is so essential for health. It all begins in the gut. Your microbiome is this vast ecosystem of, so many connections and things. It's a seat of power and intuition. And I feel like Andrographis is just so good. I remember there was this time where I was like, I think I'm getting something's up. I didn't quite feel like myself.
Coming down with something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's usually the thing where you're like, I don't really feel like myself. That's your cue that something's hitting your immune system.
Yeah.
And I took Andrographis. I took one powerhouse of Andrographis. Gone. Like
Yeah.
nothing I'd never had before. And I feel like that is like like one of those trophy herbs that's just, can help a lot of people.
And you talk about it being the king of bitters, and I researched this myself. It's a nickname, and it's an appropriate nickname, because if you've ever tasted it, it's
sorry.
It's next level, like bitterness. Like it's there's the initial bitterness, and then there's like, it just stays with you. Like there's layers and layers and layers and layers. And people talk about like making it into a tea.
Oh God.
No, not me.
Not the first option.
I mean,
choose,
kudos to you if you can do a tea of Andrographis, but
absolutely.
But pill encapsulation is what we use.
That's probably the
best
approach.
Yeah, Joel would, and in herbalism text, you have to taste your herbs.
Yeah.
Oh,
you're not abiding with the true medicine if you don't taste it. But I can tell you, like, one time, that was all I needed to understand.
One time.
Yeah.
What other herb is like nasty to taste or unique?
Yeah.
Wormwood.
Oh, wormwood. Yeah,
okay.
That's great for parasites.
Black walnut. Yeah. All the parasitic herbs that are like
stuff.
bitter, astringent, like.
They don't like it. You're probably not going to like it too much either.
Yeah. It'll make any microbe run.
But it's really important.
They're so essential.
Right. I think this is one of the things, like, for some reason, the American consumer has completely forgotten, and we can take a look at the roots. Like, even when, the Pilgrims came over and stuff like that, they were dealing with parasites all the time. You can look at the literature. They were doing anti-parasitic stuff.
Yeah.
And we just don't do that much anymore.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you take a look at a lot of the ailments, there could be an underlying parasite that's contributing to it. I don't know what you see, in the health food store, but, and you probably see a lot of digestive stuff. And
always.
Yeah.
It always is that. Yeah. And it's just like being able to read the person and understand, like, okay, what's your commitment level? What is something that you're working on? And I always try to like work the digestive around where they are.
Okay. So I walk into your health food store and I've got a digestive problem. And we're talking about like, enzymes and bitters and, all kinds of stuff. We, slippery elm, we do all those types of things, right?
Yes.
Where do you start? Or like, what questions do you ask to kind of get them in the right track?
Yeah. I ask them like, how are you sleeping? How's your digestive system? How's your nutrition?
Yeah.
What are some like symptoms you're having?
Yeah.
Just really trying to understand like their ecosystem, because they usually come in with, an idea of what they want to work towards. They have an idea of what's going on. So I just have a conversation with them. A big part of what we do in the store is education. We're not here to diagnose, treat, or prescribe. We're here to educate and get to know the person. And once you kind of develop a rapport, you can kind of guide some education on options, whether there needs to be more bitters, or we have an infection, we have a gut infection going on, and usually, I think SIBO is just a total rampant thing
Oh,
now.
yeah, it's huge. SIBO, and which typically leads to like a C. diff
Yeah.
type situation.
And we're dealing with autoimmune leaky gut stuff
Yes.
that's happening. So really repairing. So I'm looking at marshmallow root, slippery elm, maybe what is it? Is it zinc gluconate?
Yeah,
Some options
zinc
just
to close up large openings and stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, some support there. I think it's just understanding the terrain. Like, is the terrain inflamed? Is it stuck? Is it tight? Is it hurting? Do we need relaxants? Do we need to get some herbs to come in there and just like soften things up so your nervous system is equipped to go after this
Right.
and feel okay? Because the immune system and the nerves are an interparallel system. So if someone's not feeling equipped, strong to go after that, sometimes it's addressing the nervous system first, or at least softening some stuff before, going in. But I mean, there's so many therapeutic herbs. So that's typically how I approach it.
So tell us where your store is located. And I also want to ask you, like, what are you seeing pretty consistently for customer concerns recently? What is the big
Yeah, that's a
concern?
great
So
question. Yeah.
where's your
Yeah.
store? Tell us the name of the store, and
Okay.
then tell us more.
Okay, sure. Yes. We're located in San Diego, Del Cerro Community by SDSU. Yeah, we are a family-owned store, Windmill Farms. Amazing community, amazing people that are just on the ground floor, connecting and really engaging with the community. I would say things that are common with concerns is distrust. People are not very trusting what they're seeing on the shelves as much. So we have to really be educating. There are some customers loyal that know the brands and that are understanding quality, and that these companies are in it for the right reasons and they want to support people in their health. So I think that's something that I'm seeing. Also, the younger generation, I have to address. I feel like I'm seeing more of them coming in with nervous system distress, just like overwhelm. So a lot of adaptogenic herbs have been called for
Sure.
sure.
This
Well,
is
I think
probably
we'll
after the
always be.
lockdown. Is it? Yeah,
Absolutely.
of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your store's got a lot of history. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
very significant store within your community.
Yeah.
This is very nice. You walked it right into that one. Which
I
is
know.
very smart.
It was such a blessing. I'm so grateful. And I think about it all the time, just to have had all of the experiences up until now. I was definitely meant to navigate in this realm and remember how to be connected with medicine, my body, and also just to share and support people. I think it's really important for the community and for people to be the pioneers in the health food system. We have to create our own regulations, in a sense, of how the standards are and what we hold for, people and like the future. And I think, I really have a really soft spot, especially for the younger community, and like strengthening them to trust their body, see things clearly, and know that, all the medicine we need is here. Like, we have it. Like, and we're not going anywhere. What we see now, we can't turn back. It's like,
Yeah, and I think we're on the front end of a very significant movement, away from, this is why we name this unconventional medicine. I think people are taking a look at allopathic, conventional medicine and saying, that's not the whole picture.
yeah,
And so a lot of them are turning to health food stores like yours,
yeah,
which is great. It's great to see.
yeah.
So as a supplement expert,
I'm not an expert, but I'm always learning.
as a person with expertise in supplements,
Yeah.
how about that?
Perfect.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about, you talk about the younger generation. What are your thoughts about these supplements that are being touted on TikTok?
Okay, we're
TikTok
going
is,
there.
huge.
Oh,
Everybody's
there's the
like
top.
watching
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
absolutely.
I have
Okay.
my personal bias, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
do you tell me like what your thoughts are? Are those
Okay.
supplements of good quality, or are they a
Yeah.
fly by night thing? And like, are you getting that kind of engagement with your younger crowd where they come in and they're like, I saw this on TikTok?
Yes. Oh my God. We have trends. Chlorophyll got wiped out during a TikTok trend.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
People were all about chlorophyll, detoxing the liver, getting clear skin. I see a lot of it in the beauty industry,
Yes.
interestingly enough.
Yes.
There's a lot of that. And what I would say to people that have huge followings, right? They don't necessarily have the knowledge. And you have to understand that these companies are reaching out to these influencers to hire them on to promote their product, which is fine. It's a great marketing tool.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting so many
Sure.
eyes on your product, but also you have to have some type of checklist or system that you're doing to know where this is coming from, what companies are behind these products, what who's funding them, what ingredients, are they sustainable, right? Do they have other ingredients in there that may not be good for the body? You got to have some
Yeah. People
wherewithal.
don't pay a close enough attention to the excipients,
Yeah.
which is that other group.
Yeah.
And that, a lot of them are dangerous to the immune system.
Yeah, it's
know?
overstimulating and it's like it's in a really dense form. So you guys got to understand when you're taking herbs that are, 1,000 milligrams and you also have other ingredients, you're taking a strong hit of something that's concentrated.
Yeah.
So
here's the problem I have with TikTok, and it echoes what you've kind of
Okay.
said already, is that people are going to TikTok and they're being exposed to products that they may or may not need. But
mm,
because it's coming from like an influencer that they can relate to, they end up going down that rabbit hole.
yeah.
And to me, that's very concerning. And number two is those companies on TikTok, by and large, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but by and large, those are companies that are out to make a profit. That's the primary goal.
Right.
So hiring influencers is a great
And there's
play.
nothing wrong with that.
No, there's
It's
nothing.
capitalism.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Playing devil's advocate. However, you're right.
Mhm.
I mean, if that's the only goal, if that's
Yeah.
the primary mission,
right.
then you're not really taking into account the consumer's health. And that's not the primary motivation sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, to get into a health food store, for me to get my brand in front of a health food store, the number of hoops that I have to jump through just to be considered a brand
Right.
is far and above
Right.
me just putting something on TikTok
Yeah.
and hiring a 20-year-old influencer to talk about it.
Yeah.
And
It's
here's
a
a
little
gatekeeper.
a little
Yeah, this is the
infuriating.
gatekeeper, right?
You're
Like,
the
Yeah.
gatekeeper.
like,
Look
you're
at
gonna-
all the experience you have.
you're going to vet
You guys
me
do.
like
Yeah.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
You don't just let any brand in.
Yeah, when I come in, I drill your asses. I'm like, I want to know where this is coming from, how
I've
you're
had
going
that
to
experience. Yes.
a little bit, right? How you're going to show up for
Lots of
us,
questions.
how what is the partnership? That's what it is.
And you say no to a lot of brands.
Yeah, I do.
Like, not everybody makes the cut.
No. And also what I've realized too is a trust factor. I have to be able to trust what you're saying, do
Right.
my own research, and have like a recall system of the things that are important that I'm going through before making my decision. There's different ways where people will make decisions on buying, but that's just something that I've learned over time is I have to be able to connect with you that we're going to be in a partnership, because some will be like, oh, great, you brought me in and take off and we don't see them again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because they're just like, they want to make a buck. And that's, I don't know, in this community, we want to be engaged for the right reasons and remember like, oh, we're vastly connected in our mission that we're here to
Right.
do. So I think with TikTok and seeing, which is a great platform for exposure, for getting out there, but it's also can be a place that is not very transparent in some senses. And I think that's what you're getting at. Whereas like we have to be so transparent when we sit and we look at things,
Yeah. I think the quality of supplements in a health food store versus what you're going to find on TikTok, to me is like night and day.
Yeah.
And that's not to say all supplements on TikTok are bad or not
Yeah.
of quality. that would
No,
be
but they're
a crazy
typically,
statement,
yeah,
but
but they're typically not being endorsed by people who really can do, do the deep dive and understand what it is exactly what they're talking about. Just because you have a 500,000 subscribers doesn't mean that you have this kind of experience.
right. And that's why I like to keep promoting health food stores, because you
Yes.
have people
Yes.
in there that are experts in certain fields that can at least guide you in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of where I like to recommend people to go to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's also like a slippery um fad as well that came in, and people were like, "What do you have?" So
Right.
sometimes it'll be like promoting the herbs, but they'll come in and they'll be like, "What's a good quality herb?"
Right.
And that's kind of like the light side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. There's a pro and a con to what TikTok is doing. It's shining a light on the benefits of going in a different direction. Staying kind of clear of the pharmaceutical routes.
Yeah.
So, and I do think that they have their place.
yeah,
But if you're trying to do something prophylactic long term, trying to maintain your overall health on a day-to-day basis, this is where you should be going. You should be going to a health food store.
yeah.
So it's good to shine the light on, but you have to go back to the expert to really get.
Get kind of a wherewithal of
Yeah.
like quality ingredients, where things are coming from. Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I don't know how you can get a quality supplement for like $6,
Mhm.
right, on TikTok,
Yeah,
like a multi-ingredient product.
Well,
It's possible, but
This
you're
is
not
like
going to have high quality in there.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no. And this is like a conversation with Dr. Zeke, in the last show, where
Yes.
where he talked about, you end up going into a Walmart or a big box
Mhm.
as opposed to going to a health food store. It's
Yeah.
clearly going to be different.
And I just want to highlight something: the independents versus corporate stores. We have a say in what we're bringing in.
Thank you.
The independents are what you want to be supporting. We're able to really do research, spend our time. We're not micromanaged we're not micromanaged in the sense of like, we have to get all this stuff done and we have no say of what's on our shelves. We have the say. We have the power to be able to support brands that are like pioneering really good stuff to the shelves. So, yeah, I feel like, that's the ground floor level of people that are engaged with their community, the demands of the community, and wanting to bring good health. And we spend time coaching, we spend time engaging and really understanding the needs versus trends that are like, here's a gummy,
Mm.
here's some sugar, right? And you're like, how
Right.
much of this is in there?
Yeah.
So just something to think
I
about.
did a video on gummies, and it wasn't very flattering.
I'll
So
eat them like after a meal just to have something sweet.
Sure. Yeah.
It's
Well,
not
that's probably the
for
implication.
nutritional needs.
so we're in agreement that gummies are not therapeutic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless
don't-
the therapy is dessert.
Unless the therapy is dessert.
I don't know how many you have to eat to, but at that time you're just front loading so much sugar. Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to leave the audience with that we
Okay.
have not covered?
This has been such a wonderful talk. Thank you guys for allowing me to open up and share with you. I just feel excited and just in my heart about more of these conversations of sharing medicine, being connected. I think organizing, being within your community, understanding people, everything's about relationships, the relationship we have to things and who we're supporting. We vote with our dollars. And I think, we have to be the ones to speak and say the hard things sometimes. And yeah, I think just show up, be in your community, engage, yeah, and keep developing relationship with your medicine. That's all I want to
Well
say.
said.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Windmill Farms, Candice, thank you so much. Go see her store
Thank
in
you,
San
guys.
Diego. Amazing stuff. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Thank
And if
you,
you
guys.
enjoyed the content, like and subscribe. We'll be back with some more guests. Thanks very much.